Hello y'all, welcome back. Happy New Year! We're here to talk about today is all the books I read in 2025, which were 23. I did not meet my reading goal this year, but I did almost double what I read in 2024, which was 12 books. This year I read 23. All my books that I read this year here with me, and I have my Kindle and my Fable app open, and we're just gonna dive into every single book I read in 2025. I read so many good books and some that I didn't like at all. So we're just gonna get right to it. Okay, so starting off the year strong, I started with Firefly Lane by Kristen Hanna. I give this book 3 stars. Now, pause. 3 stars for me. A 3-star book for me is still a good book, but it wasn't like, oh my god, I loved it, I need this engraved in my veins, because she does have really good writing. She knows how to build and develop her characters, but some of the characters in here were just not likable, and I just wouldn't have let slide a lot of what was let slid in here. And then I started watching the show, hated it even more because the show adaptation is nothing like the book. I read I Who Have Never Known Men by Jacqueline Harpen. This is a very interesting book. I gave this also 3 stars, but not because the book is bad. Actually, I'm not gonna spoil it. I'm gonna shut up and I'm not gonna spoil it. Okay, so straight after I Who Have Never Known Men, I actually took a trip to Seattle. So I wanted to read a book that was on my Kindle. I read Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez. And one thing about Miss Abby Jimenez is that she is gonna eat it up every single time. I started the book and I was immediately hooked. Immediately. The build-up was insane. The yearning was insane. The characters were amazing. I did again give this book 3 stars. I do not think it's Abby Jimenez's best book. However, it is a really good book and I really recommend it. In 2024, I read Just for the Summer, and Just for the Summer changed my brain chemistry. Justin, I still think about him all the time. So I read Animal Farm by George Orwell. We are living in very scary times, let me just say that. So a lot of things that were going on here, I was like, right. 3.5 stars for me, but this is a classic. I know a lot of people read this in school. I unfortunately went to a very illiterate high school, so we didn't have to read books for school. Overworked, Mistreated Animals, Rebellion. I ate it up. 3.5 stars. Right after Animal Farm, I read The Third Gilmore Girl by Kelly Bishop. I loved learning more about Miss Kelly. I loved learning about her Broadway experience. I love to learn about Dirty Dancing. I love to learn about everything about Gilmore Girls, what happened after Gilmore Girls, her relationship with real life Lorelai. Forget her name, I'm so sorry. 4 stars. One thing I love about memoirs is when the person who the memoir is about narrates it. So this was just like really good. She is honestly a wonderful woman and I couldn't recommend this book more. In May, I read This Summer Will Be Different. Now, let me preface this by saying that I know a lot of people love Carly Fortune and a lot of people love her books. However, again, I have heard that this is not one of her best books. Will I give her another try? Maybe. But I did give this book 2 stars. The characters didn't do it for me and I just kind of wanted to finish it. And it felt like the author was literally ovulating the whole time, but not in like a let me put this ovulation into good writing way. And I know that might sound kind of harsh, but I genuinely did not enjoy this book. It was just not, it was not it for me. It didn't do it. It was interesting, but not interesting enough for me to really enjoy it. So I gave it 2 stars, but I will give her another try because again, a lot of the reviews that I saw on Fable said that this is not her best book. So maybe I just started with not such a good book, but This Summer Will Be Different was a 2 star for me. Right after that, I felt the need to read on my Kindle because it was summer and Kindle is just one of the best things to read on during the summer, at the pool, at the beach. I read a book that hasn't that I haven't heard a lot of people talk about, and it is A Love Letter to Whiskey. Let me just say, this book is filled with drama, with yearning, with like right person, wrong time. There is, however, a cheating trope part of it that I didn't enjoy much because there was like no need for it. We're basically following two characters that meet at a very young age and just can't seem to like get it together. The first like 60% of that book felt like the song Need I Say More? Part 2 of this book is in one book, and it is the male main's character POV. I'm just gonna tell you right now, read like 5-6 chapters of his point of view, and that's it. You don't need to read more. I finished it, but at what cost? It kind of just repeats the female main character's story from the beginning. He just kind of retells it, and there's a lot of information that you're like, you already said this and there's nothing that has changed, so why do I need to hear it again? It was like a drama TV show that you just can't stop watching because you're like, these two people aren't insane, why do they keep going back to each other? But then you're like, okay, we're spicing things up, there's drama, there's like, let me just say, it was a really good book. 4 stars for me. You're just gonna have to take my word for it. But then I read Summer Romance by Annabelle Monaghan. This book was a 3 stars for me. So the main character, Ali, is a professional organizer and her mom dies. This book is a very, very grief heavy book. The love in here felt a little rushed to me. 3 stars for me. Not gonna say more. The reason why I picked this book off was because a lot of people in the YouTubes were saying that this book was like watching a reality TV show where the characters are all rich and insufferable. I don't know where we got the sentiment, but I don't know. I give this book a 3 stars because there was a little bit of drama in it that I was like, oh, you bitches got me fucked up. There's also like, these are supposed to be the characters. I ate up her pink hair, I will say that. And I liked the ending, but leading to the ending, I was If I had to choose between this shower and a date with Harry Styles, I would choose Harry Styles, but I'd hesitate. This is the best shower of my life. I'm not really sure what. Oh, right. This is Marriage of Convenience. I will say I kind of found her a little annoying. 3 stars for me. Again, if it's 3 stars, I do recommend it. You should read it on your own. Reading is subjective and you might tear this book up. I don't know. Okay, next on my Kindle, I read Listen for the Lie by Amy Tintera. Now, I read this book in 4 days. I think it's one of the books that I read last year that I read in 4 days. Maybe the only book that I read in 4 days because I could not put my Kindle down to save my life. I was at the gym, Kindle in hand. Going to bed, Kindle in hand. My boyfriend was playing games, Kindle in hand. Like, I could not put this book down. And then when I didn't have my Kindle in my hand, the audiobook for this book is amazing. We're following our female main character. She has committed a crime and she's trying to prove that she didn't do it. She has no recollection of that night and she's like, I don't know if I killed my friend. And then this podcaster is doing an investigation because he wants to figure it out. If she actually killed him, they become friends. He comes into her small town in Texas. They like hit it up. And let me just say, it's a really good book. I did not expect the person at the end to be that person, and 4 stars. It's on Kindle Unlimited, but really if you're more of an audiobook person, I would also recommend you do the audiobook because the podcast section of the book sounds like a literal podcast, which I love when audiobooks are immersive like that. So, and then straight after that, after such a good book that I read in 4 days, I read on Kindle Unlimited One Italian Summer. this was a recommendation video that I saw on TikTok, and this is why you shouldn't believe everything you see on the internet. This was a recommendation video I saw on TikTok telling you books to get you out of slumps and to hit your reading goals. I could not read it. I thought this book was not good. The only good thing about this book was that it was set in Italy and you get all the Italy vibes. There is time travel in it that is not really explained. Like, it just kind of happens. Cheating trope is like the main trope. She has a husband waiting at home. If One Italian Summer could have been a self-discovery book with a hint of explained time travel, I think I would have ate this book up. But she kind of just pushed away a lot of things to go to Italy and cheat on her husband, and I couldn't get past it because her husband was trying to help her. I don't want to give away too much because you might want to read it, but I gave it 2 stars because I just could not. I thought, I don't know. I read The House on Mango Street. I thought I was really gonna love this. I didn't enjoy it. I gave it a 1 star. Maybe if I would have read it when I was younger, I would have enjoyed it more. Then straight after that, I went into one of the most beautiful cover books that I read last year, and that is Remarkably Bright Creatures. 3.5 stars. I loved the octopus in here, Marcellus. I think we should have a whole book dedicated to his life. Actually, I take that back, and I'm not gonna say why. It's a very touching book, but it's also very grief heavy because her husband did die. Her son has been missing or went missing a while ago. The cover is absolutely beautiful. I got the sprayed edges one. I know there's a different color one of the sprayed edges. But yeah, it was so good. I hope Tova lives a wonderful rest of her life. So I started yours truly on my Kindle, but I had the physical copy at home. Look at this. This was my one and only 5-star read. I honestly, now that I'm reviewing a lot of these books, I am realizing that I am a very, very harsh critic. So do with that what you will. But this was my very, very one and only 5-star read. Oh wait, no. My first out of 2 5-star reads. Let me just say, we are following part of your world, Alexis' best friend in this book, and her life as a nurse and finding love. And it does have, I will say, it does have miscommunication trope. I think it just made it 10 times better when they finally figured it out and communicated to each other like, this is what we need, and found out that like that was the answer the whole freaking time. I ugly sobbed to this book. I could not contain myself for like 10 minutes after finishing this book because truly, Abby Jimenez is amazing. We're following Brianna, which again is Alexis's best friend from Part of Your World, and she is filing for divorce. Gonna say Miss Brianna was going through it, and then she meets Jacob, who she thinks is absolutely fucking annoying and stupid. And then this is dual point of view, which would made it even better. Men are a constant reminder that we don't choose our sexuality, because who in the right mind would choose to be attracted to men? Then after that, I read The Only One Left by Riley Sager. Now, I'm not gonna say that I hated this book or that I didn't enjoy it, but I did give it a 2.5. I kind of guessed a lot of the twists that weren't on here, and that made it less fun, which I think is why I gave it a 2.5. About a nurse who has a really troubled past with something that happened in her life, so now they're kind of trying to get rid of her, and they sent her to the spooky house, and she's like, oh, I don't know about the spooky house. I've heard a lot of stuff about it. In October, I read 107 Days by Kamala Harris. This was my other one and only 5-star. But I really wouldn't put it in the same category as yours truly, obviously. Again, we're living in very hard times, and the half of this book was like a breath of fresh air, and then I kind of got pulled back into reality, and then it just gets sad and sadder and sadder and sadder as the days progress. But truly, I think a lot of people failed her, and I don't think we should glamorize politicians at all, but her and whoever helped her write this, if anybody did an amazing job. Her retelling of every single day was amazing, and it just shows that you have to work twice as hard as a woman and as a person of color. You can tell by my tabs I was really diving deep into this book and analyzing everything in it. Trump stood there and spouted unfiltered nonsense about Hannibal Lecter and electric sharks. He called it the wave. I called it nonsense. The double standard on our style of presentation was galling. If I hesitated or backtracked mid-sentence to try to clarify or better express the thought, it was word salad. Meanwhile, Trump could describe Hurricane Florence as one of the wettest we've ever seen from standpoint of water. Do with that what you will. I gave this book a 5 stars, and I will not take back. Then straight after Miss Kamala, I read If Cats Disappear from the World. Don't let this title fool you. This has nothing to do with cats. There is a cat in this book. Actually, let me take it back. There's a cat in this book, but the book itself is having to do with nothing about cats. This is about a postman who finds out he has cancer, and he's living with his cat Cabbage, and before he can figure out what he wants to do before he dies, the devil shows up at his door and makes him an offer, makes something disappear to give him an extra day of life. So we follow him as he's trying to figure out what he's gonna make disappear and talks with the devil. 3.5 because I thought it was good. It's a good short read, and it does make you reflect a little bit and just kind of like live in the moment type vibes. So then straight after, I read on my Kindle the rom-comers, and I gave it 2 stars. Another author that I'm gonna have to give another shot because I've heard really good things about her. I gave the rom-comers 2 stars. I am sorry, but the male main character in this book was absolutely insufferable. I don't know how this girl could have fallen in love with him. Liberate me from the trenches of this love, because no. Close proximity, which is not the problem. The problem was the male main character. He was insufferable. He is a big shot artist, and he is exactly what you think. Snobby, mean, an asshole. And it's not like an asshole for the world, a king to her. No, he was just an asshole. Just no for me. And I joined the book club. First book club read was The Nightingale. So I read 2 Kristen Hanna books this year, and let me tell you, this was the better one. 4 stars. That might be controversial. I don't know. Don't cancel me. It was a little slow at the beginning. It does not mean that the stories weren't powerful and enjoyable, and I genuinely learned a lot of stuff while I was reading this book. I read The 5 People You Meet in Heaven, and this was the last physical book I read, and I gave it 3 stars. This was a reread for me. I read it when I was in high school, so like 10 years ago. My librarian at the time when I was in high school recommended it to me, and I just remember really enjoying this book, so I decided to buy it and reread it. I give it a 3 stars this time. I didn't rate my books back then. You're following our male main character that dies, and he basically meets 5 people in heaven that kind of like help him in this journey in heaven and make him realize a lot of stuff that he missed when he was still alive. 3 stars for me. I read The House of My Mother by Sherry Frankie. This was very interesting for me to read. I gave it a 4.5 stars. I think she should be liberated from the Mormon church. Again, don't cancel me, but I have a hard time trying to figure out how people that go through religious trauma still are in the religion that has harmed them so much. There was parts in this book where I was like, you went to people that you confided in the church, and they absolutely failed you, which has nothing to do with a God. I will say religion and the church is 2 completely different things. And in preparation to go see the movie, I read The Housemaid on Kindle Unlimited, and I ate it up. 4 stars. I do, however, think the book was better. I wish they would have added, I'm sorry, spoilers if you haven't seen the movie, but at this point you should have. They don't include the pepper spray scene, and they completely changed the ending. I do not think the directors and the people that read the book read the same ending, because it was completely different. However, I do think it's because they wanted to give it a more movie feel to it. Then they also changed the funeral scene. Amanda Seyfried did an amazing job in the movie adaptation. I'm just saying. And the last book I read was Bottom of the Pyramid by Nia Siu. I give it 4 stars as well. I learned a lot about dance moms. I learned a lot about Nia. I learned about how Abby is an absolutely horrible monster that should be in jail for the rest of her life. Even though I didn't meet my reading goal, I still felt pretty proud, patting myself in the back, that I almost doubled my books from last year. And this year I set my goal to 26, so hopefully I get to meet it this year, and I'm so excited to continue reading this year and seeing if I can just find books that I love. Yeah, thank you so much for hearing me yap, and I'll see you maybe in the next video. Bye!